Hello everyone, I'm Christine Jossie of Mail Something Pretty, and I have these fun, simple but thoughtful cards to show you today. And you can put messages of whatever you want, but it has a little tea bag on top. So I just thought it was a really nice kind of thinking of you or a random hello card, and then someone could just take off the tea bag and have a cup of tea. So I like this tea bag because it matches the paper so pretty, but you can do any kind of tea bag you want to do. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and it's super simple because sometimes that's just what we need to do when we need to send out a thinking of you card. So I'm going to use, I'll show you all my supplies here. Lost Lagoon as my card base. You can use, any colors. I just cut mine this way, so when I fold it in half, then when it sits up like that. I like to do that when my cards are kind of in the landscape position. I like them to cut them the long way, so on the 4 1/4. And then I'm gonna stamp on that. I have a little circle vellum, and that is from the Everyday Details dies. And I have just some strips of paper, and I'm going to show you where that came from, but they are just 1 inch by, and I forget, let me measure, 1 by 3 3/4 it looks like, or a little over that. You can make your strips whatever you want. And so the paper came from, it's called A Little Latte, and it is kind of coffee themed. And so you can kind of see some of the prints here are fun, and they don't have to be used for coffee related, because some of the swirls are just fun background patterns. And so you can find this right at the Stampin' Up! Store. It is in the online exclusive section, but if you just typed in, I'm not sure if it'd work if you just typed in the search bar coffee, but latte, coffee might work. But that's where I found it. As well as they have some fun matching little gems, and there is a stamp set that goes with it. I didn't get it because I am a tea drinker, not a coffee drinker, but I did get the paper because it's fun. So I am using coffee paper with a tea card, and I give you permission to do the same thing. It's fine. All right, so super simple. We're just going to lay these out however you want, whichever sides you want. Let's see, I think each one I've done has been a little bit different. It's fun to have that little color in there. I like the splots, but I like the blue that kind of matches. All right, so let's see. I think I put this one more in the middle. Don't you hate it when you just cut your fingernails and you can't grab anything? Yikes. All right. And I am doing them kind of on angles. Kind of not quite zigzag, but kind of zigzag, and so you can see a little bit of that lagoon color through. And once you have them where you want them, I'm just trying to even up my border here. That's fine because we're going to cover it up anyways, most of it. So what I've been doing is actually putting a block right on top so they don't move. And then I'll just take my glue and I lift up a little bit. I put just a little dab of glue under each one. If they move a little bit, that's fine. I'm gonna lift up these two at the same time. Put some glue. And then you can press. So if your block is clean, which I can't guarantee mine is, you can actually even smooth over. Then you can spin it around, and then we can lift up and do the same thing. Or you can just put each strip down, but I'm finding this is a little faster, and it kind of keeps after I work so hard to get my strips in place, it kind of keeps them in place. Oops, that glue went a little bit too far. And my last one. All right, so give those a press. Okay, So there are strips, nothing hard about that. So let that sit for a second. And so now I'm going to stamp my teacup. So that is from the Everyday Details. So the dies that I got, the circle, and I'm sorry I didn't bring them up. I can show you because they're awesome dies. So this catalog is retiring soon, but don't worry, because the stamp set and the dies are carrying over 28. So they'll be available for a long time. Oh, well, it's hard for you to see, but they have these fun shapes, and each of them have like polka dots that go around. And so, I don't know if you can see the polka dots, but they're fun. They're really great. I like them a lot. And the teacup, which we have to cut out with scissors. All of these 3 images you have to cut out with scissors, but none of them are hard, so it's okay. All right, so we are going to stamp the teacup in Memento. So in the Memento ink, because I'm using blends markers to color in. If you were using something else to color it in, you might want to use the StazOn. And I write right on top of it, blends, so that I remember that this black is for my blends markers, which I have here. So I like to start, and I know I have 2 sets of blues in here, because some of them are old. I like to start with my lighter. This is Pool Party. I think this color and Smoky Slate are actually the blends colors I probably use the most. Smoky Slate sounds funny, but it's a nice accent color, and you can also tone down some of your colors with it. So I'm just kind of following along with those lines, and I'm not coloring the whole thing, so actually you might be able to see that there is some white spots, and I just thought I actually probably should, I'm just going to do it blue, but I probably should have brought up a tea color, liquid tea color for that. And then I'm going to use the darker Pool Party, and maybe I'll do this whole stripe here, and then just a little bit following these lines here on the base, and maybe back here. And that's it with the dark. And then you can leave it, or if you wanted to blend that dark in a little bit more, you could go over on top of it with the light. And as it dries, it will kind of blend a little bit more. And then I'm going to actually do the flower next. I'll let this dry, so I'm not going to do the leaves yet. Give it a moment to kind of dry. So this is light Calypso Coral, but you can do your flowers and teacup in any color. I'm not even going to bother with that middle because I'm going to put a gem on top. And I'm just going to lightly do the darker of Calypso Coral. And you can leave it like that, or if you wanted to go over on top of it with the light, you can do that, but I'm going to leave that alone. And then this is Grainy Apple Green. I think it's the light. Yep. And I'm just doing light. I didn't even, oh, and I just noticed I forgot that part of the teacup. Don't forget that corner. I'll just do the light color. There we go. And that's it. So easy coloring. I'll give that a second to dry, and then I'm going to cut it out. And so I have Pretty Peacock. I think these pair really nicely together. It's kind of like a dark and light of almost the same color. And I'm using You're in My Thoughts today. So that is not in this stamp set. You certainly could use it. It is in the Hummingbird stamp set. I forget what that set is called. That set is also carrying over. I just had to move it closer to my eyes. And I stamped it kind of on the right side because I'm going to hide that part with a teacup. Give that a second to dry. And now I can cut out my teacup. And when I cut, I like to leave a little white border. And then I also, and I'm sure you've seen me do this before, I leave my scissors pretty much in the same position, and I move my paper. And I just think that works better for cutting. And so these guys are just kind of cut around. Nothing perfect. And you could even outline those in green. That would be pretty. But by leaving that white border, you can cut a little faster. And it just kind of gives a nice little border. Sometimes when I try to cut directly on the line and I make a mistake, then I lose part of that image. So this also gives you a little buffer. All right, not too difficult. And then I just leave that because that would be hard to cut out, that middle, unless you went in with an X-Acto knife. But this card is actually designed for really not to be kept. So you take off the tea bag, and then the card doesn't look so great. So you take off the tea bag. So I didn't even put anything fancy on the inside. You certainly can, but it's just for the sake of the tea bag. All right, which we actually need to, where did it go? It was hiding under my stamp set. Okay, so like I said, I picked this one because it matched the paper, but you can pick any kind of tea bag. And then I just, using up some of my ribbon, this one's almost all gone. This is a nice gold, so I did a gold on this one. And then I did this fun copper. So you can kind of pick up different tones. And I'm just gonna loop it around. Just trim it. So I have enough for one more. This I think was from the Christmas catalog. I'm just gonna put that down there to hold it in place. And then I'm gonna take my linen thread, and you can either, I think I have one of each, tie a bow or not, just to kind of keep this in place. Again, this is not gonna last long because they're gonna make their cup of tea. So you don't have to get too fancy. All right. This one I just decided to do a bow. I may have to trim that because that might be long, but I'll wait till I put it on the card. All right, so that's gonna go like that. So I'm just gonna glue that down. I'm not gonna even worry about popping it up because we're gonna pop up the tea bag. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just take one dimensional, and I'm just gonna put one dimensional on the back. I don't want it to be hard to rip off, that's why I just do one. And that's gonna get placed, I'm gonna do a little bit on an angle, mimic the angles of the paper. And then our teacup, there we go. I'm going to put on top of our vellum circle, and you could put it directly on top, but I just think the vellum circle kind of fancies it up a little bit, and it's a little less competing with all the patterns. I'm going to use a glue dot because whenever I use vellum, I don't like to use the glue or anything that's water-based because it will curl and warp. So the vellum, I'm sorry to tell you, is retiring. I did not look to see if it's still available or if it's gone yet. That's one of the few products that's retiring that I'm a little sad about. All right, so now I can put a dimensional on the back side. I'll put one on the top and one on the bottom, just so it straddles the ribbon, because that won't make it warp. Like that. Oh, pretty. And then we're going to add our little gems. So I think I'll just stick with it's a similar color. Put that in our flower, just kind of ties it all together. And then one of these I added, some gems on here, and this one I left plain. So you could add a diamond, you could add whatever. But I'll add a few, just kind of copy what I did. Gems on this one. Do them in threes, like that. So there we go. So you're in my thoughts today. It could be a birthday. It could be, if something sad happened, or if it could be I miss you, I haven't seen you in a long time. It could be just a thank you. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a thinking of you. Just trimming that a little bit. All right, so here are my 3 different versions. Oops. Put them that way. A little bit. These are almost the same, except for this has gems, this one doesn't, and this has a different colored tea bag, and I put a hello. So I hope you liked it. Again, it's just a quick little message on the inside. You could put white paper, or this is light enough that you can directly write on it. And then they just take the tea bag off, and then they have a nice cup of tea thinking of you. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you like the card in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already, and that way you'll be notified whenever I upload videos. And if you are not on my mailing list, please go over to mailsomethingpretty.com and sign up for my mailing list, and you'll get a bunch of fun and hopefully useful emails. Thank you very much. I'm Christine of Mail Something Pretty. Have a great day.